person can be calm for you. Your person can bring you a sense of peace. Your person can bring you add joy to your life or add peace to your life. But they should not be your main source of peace, joy, in a safe place. Hey guys and girlies, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time watching, welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking about 19 things I wish I knew as a 19-year-old. So this is just like general things I've learned and deep things I've learned, but let's just get right into it. So the first thing I wish that I knew before I was 19 is that everybody is not your friend. And I know like we hear this a lot and it kind of sounds like, oh, we know everybody's not my friend, or I know everybody's not my friend. I know people are my enemies, or I know people are this and that. But when I say everybody's not your friend, I mean everybody does not have to be in close proximity to you. For example, if you have a girl and you meet her and she's cool and y'all click like this, I'm not saying that couldn't be your best friend or your close friend, but that doesn't automatically make her your best friend. Something I learned in therapy is something called a friend venting process, and it's like where you learn how to vent your friends and learn how someone goes from an associate to a friend. What makes somebody your friend? So that's a good thing to know as you grow up and as you become an adult, is just that it's just how knowing what makes somebody your friend. When I was younger, I thought what made somebody my friend is you're nice, I'm nice, we like this. You're nice, I'm nice, you my best friend. And I used to call everybody my best friend. Whole time I barely knew the girls, or I barely even knew myself really. So just know your friend venting process and know how to label somebody a friend instead of an associate, or instead of, they can be like buddy, they don't even gotta be associate, they can be like, oh, we cool, we know each other. But a friend needs to be somebody that's like, know who your friends are. The second thing I have is that there will never be a perfect time to heal. And I always tell my friends this, and I had to learn this myself, that there will never be a perfect time to heal from your trauma and heal from experiences. I think when I was like growing up and when I came to college, I was kind of like, I'll heal after I have my fun, or I'll heal once I get in a relationship, or I'll heal when this happens or that happens. But something I've learned is that you can never plan out when you're going to heal. You can never say, I'm going to heal it this time. Also, the longer it takes you to heal, the more trauma that you'll stack on top. So if you're constantly trying to like, I don't have time to heal right now, I don't even know where to start, you're going to always have more to start on because you're never doing it. So when I was like 16 and I was saying, I don't know how to heal or I don't know where to start, as I was 16, 17, I had more to heal from. So if you're always saying, I don't know where to start or I don't know how to heal, then you never will heal. The important thing about healing is just starting. And the important thing about healing is learning how to be alone and learning how to grow when you're alone. Healing does not always have to be what's the word? Monitored by a friend or getting advice from a friend. Healing is just taking experiences that you've been through and growing from them and learning that they don't have to be your whole life and your whole story in the end of your journey. So there is never a perfect time to heal or to grow from things. The next thing I have is perfection is a fantasy, not a reality. I say this because I'm a low key perfectionist. I'm not like OD perfectionist because my sisters are perfectionists and I don't be doing all that. But I think when you always are this type of person, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my work and my businesses and my craft. And that's something that you can perfect. But when it comes to yourself and when it comes to your friends or relationships, perfection is not existent. And this is something I had to learn. Like when a friend did something, I'd be like, oh, that's not my friend no more. Cause I had trauma from friendships. And I'd be like, oh, that's not my friend no more. Like I don't hang with her no more, that we not cool. And I had to learn that everybody is not perfect. Like even people in the church are still humans. And I think something I didn't know for the longest is like, if somebody tripping in church, oh, you're not a Christian for real. Like you can't what's the word? You can't mentor me or you can't do this and that for me when you tripping in your real life. Like I don't want nothing, but everybody is a human. Everybody is not perfect. Perfection is not real. And I'm not just saying that like, oh, perfection is not real. Like you can't be, I'm saying that like, know that people are human and hold them to the standards that you hold yourself and see them the way that God sees them. Though God sees us as perfect and per- there's perfection in flaws. That's the best way to put it. Like just because you have flaws does not make you imperfect. You can work on them, and that doesn't mean sit in what you mess up and do. But see people the way that God sees them, and know to love how to love somebody unconditionally, and not love your friends conditionally and be like, oh, she did this, or my sister did that, or they did that. I'm cutting them off. I'm cutting her off, him off. It's like everybody is not perfect, and you can't hold somebody to a standard that you're not even meeting. And even if you are meeting it before then, you weren't always meeting that standard. So give people room to grow, evolve, and to be human. The next one that I have is, I'm sorry, I wrote all these in my journal. The next one that I have is, you cannot please God in the world. And I say you can't please God in the world because a lot of people think you can have one foot in the world and one foot in God. That's not possible, and that is not realistic. And I say that because people think, oh, I can party, smoke all day, and go to church in the morning. And I think too, our generation has normalized sinning at night and worshiping in the morning. That's the best way to put it. And like, those two don't link up. And if you're pursuing a genuine relationship with God, you're going to have to sacrifice something, and you're going to miss out on something. That you can't just live a double life. Like, you cannot believe that, because it would be anti-Bible. And this is not an opinion or like my thought on anything. To live a double life is anti-Bible, anti-word, and anti-God. I'm sorry. You can't do one thing here and do another thing there. That's not the realism of what it takes to be a Christian, especially as, well, not even especially as a woman, anybody. But you can't have like one foot in, what's the word, fornication, and another foot in praying that God makes his relationship work. I'm sorry. He can make it work, but at the same time, if you're not putting the effort in, and you're not reaching out to God and asking God to deliver you from certain stuff and making the action to do that, then no. So the next one that I have is, your trauma does not define you. This is something that it took me a while to learn, because for the longest, and I say your trauma and depression does not define you, because for the longest I always thought I couldn't be healed from depression. I always thought Ooh. I always thought certain experiences were gonna define me, and like, how do I move on from these things when they're such a huge part of my life? And something that I had to learn is that I cannot let experiences that I've gone through, or people that I've seen do things to me, define who I am as a person and define who I want to be. Say I have trauma with a friend, does that define the way that I treat my friends? I just put walls up, and I just, oh well, I don't want to be do this and that because I'm traumatized by this. Or on the flip side, I don't think I'm capable of doing this and that because of the trauma that I've been through. You cannot let your trauma define who you are as a person, because it does not define you. Your journey does not end with your trauma. Your life does not end at your trauma. You have to grow from it. You have to understand that this is something that I experienced, but it is not me. The next one that I have is, don't hold anger in your heart. This is a very, very big one for me, because people always say, I forgive, but I never forget. And I think that's like true but not biblical. I'm not saying always forget what people do to you, or just if your friend do you down and dirty, forgive her and pick her up the next. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you cannot say you forgive somebody and consistently be angry at them, because it's not a reflection of you. And honestly, it's not hurting the other person. The only person that's going to hurt is you, because the other person has probably already moved on. The other person done already lived their life. The other person done already matured. And you here stuck in a box because you're angry all the time. You see them and you just angry, angry, angry. You don't know what to do with your life. And I'm not saying you can't be upset about nothing, but I'm saying like, holding anger on your heart is a lot to carry. And if you're consistently carrying, oh well, they did this to me, I'm gonna forever be mad at them, I'm gonna forever be tripping, that's my reason for doing that, they did this. That's not a way to live, because you can never have a peace of mind or genuine joy if you're always angry and you're always upset at people for what they did to you. You have to let that go. I'm sorry. The next one I have is, your dreams will never be a reality without discipline. This is a lesson I really learned when I came to college, because it was nobody telling me to do anything. Everything that I had to do on my own. And I literally would notice that I would draw up things on paper and I would never do them. And I would have these great ideas in my head, never accomplish them because I never had the discipline to do so. You cannot do anything without discipline. You cannot build a relationship with God without discipline. You cannot lose weight without discipline. You cannot have a business without discipline. You cannot get a job and keep it without discipline. Nothing is possible without discipline, because in order to do something, you have to force yourself to do it when you don't want to. In order to be successful, you have to force yourself to get up and work when you don't want to. In order to be a business owner, you have to force yourself to go out and build stuff up when you don't want to. Nothing is possible without discipline. And the longer it takes you to learn that, the longer you will set yourself back. The next one that I have is connected to the last one, but do not let somebody's doubts define your dreams. And this is something that I had to learn because people stay saying up and down, "Oh, you doing a lot. Oh, that could never be me. Oh, how are you gonna balance all that? Oh, this and that." But the only person, and I tell my friends and my people this all the time, the only person who defines your journey is God and you. So if you're listening to people all the time and you're constantly letting things sit in your ear and not go one ear in and one ear out, then you're never going to get where you want to be, because the only words that you have in your heads are from other in your head is from other people and not God or yourself. You have to understand that everybody's going to doubt you until you get to where you want to get. And here, let me give you an example of this. You can literally be a model, or say you're a content creator, you're an aspiring content creator, right? You could have 100 followers. People will say, you only have 100 followers. Why you think you can really do this? 1,000 followers. Why you think you can really do this? 10,000. Then you get 10 million. Why you think you can really do this? And then if you want to take something else seriously, oh, you're just a content creator. People will always doubt you no matter where you are in life. And that's what you have to understand. Like, even people who are successful still have people doubt that they can't do anything else. Like, if you're successful in one field, then people doubt that you can be successful in other fields. So you have to understand that people's doubts do not define you, because they doubt your journey because theirs is average. So you can't let people define what you do because they doubted themselves their whole life, so they didn't get nowhere. Okay. The next one I have is being average is an option. Now, I'm not speaking to people that want to work 9 to 5s or want to do certain things, because to me, that's fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or whatever, but if you feel a calling or a push on your life to not be average and to not settle and to not adjust to what everybody is doing, don't settle and be that. Don't push yourself or adjust to just doing what everybody else is doing because you feel like it's all you can do. If you feel a calling on your life or a push on your life to be more than average, do it. But nobody can do it for you. So if you feel like, oh, well, I didn't get here, so I guess I'll just be average, or oh, well, this didn't work out, so I guess I have to be average, or oh, well, I didn't get that job, so I guess I have to be average. That is not reality. If you are average, it's because you choose to be. The best way to say this is because even if you try something 10 times, the time that it worked could be your 11th time. It's certain things that I've tried to do that I haven't succeeded in, but because I never stopped trying, I learn more and I do better each time. You cannot quit just because A, B, C, and D didn't work. So if you quit at A, B, C, and D, what God had for you at E will never happen because you just decided to quit. So being average, don't let that be an option for yourself if you feel calling on your life not to be. The next one I have is no one else will choose you if you don't first choose yourself. This is very important because people always have a struggle with feeling like they're in a room full of people and they're not the one chosen, or they're always the person in the group that's left out, or they're always the second friend, or this and that. But what you have to understand is that how do you treat yourself? How do you choose yourself every day? If you're constantly in your head thinking, oh, this is because of me and the way I am and my personality and this and that, it's because you've chosen a part of yourself that you don't like. And I have to say, like, you have to make sure before anybody else, you're choosing yourself and you're loving yourself and understanding that we're not friends because we don't click. Not because I have an issue. Well, unless you do got an issue, then you need to fix that. Because I'm not speaking to mean folks, because you do have an issue. But I'm speaking to people who have genuine hearts and, like, feel like they're not chosen with their genuine hearts. God has a person for you, but at the same time, you will not have that person if you don't know how to love and choose yourself consistently. You have to wake up every day and understand that regardless of how many friends I have, regardless if I have a man or not, I choose myself and I know what I'm worth and I understand that. That's a huge thing that you have to learn as an adult, as a female, period. The next thing that I have is this: just because it's something that all that you know does not make it right. This is a really Oh, you can't even hear it. This is a really huge thing that we all need to learn, because something like I feel like is normalized in our generation, period, is just like, oh, well, that's how I am, so that's how I'm going to be, and no room for growth. Oh, well, I'm just like that. I just speak to people like that, so I'm not going to change myself for you. When you're just mean, you're just an evil person. You're just evil spirited. So if you feel that way and you feel like, oh, well, that's all I knew growing up. Oh, well, my daddy was like this, so that's all I know. Or my mama talked to me like this, so that's all I know. That's going to show that you have no sense of growth and maturity. That's a lack of maturity and a lack of growth. Every day is an opportunity to evolve and grow. And if you're constantly like, that's just who I am, that's just how I am, then you're not giving yourself room to grow. And it's very immature. I feel like that's a huge thing you have to learn as a person and understand, like, just because that's how you're used to being doesn't mean it's how you always have to be, especially if you're just mean. Yeah. The next one I have is you have to know what peace is for you, and you have to set an environment for it. For me personally, my idea of peace was like calm with a little side of depression every now and then. And you have to understand that peace is unaffected by the environment of the world. Peace is unaffected by the atmosphere of the world. And that's what you have to set for your life, and understand that I have peace regardless of what happens around me. I have peace regardless of who drops today and who drops tomorrow. I have peace regardless of a breakup or whatever, because peace is from the inside out, not the outside in. So you have to understand that nothing can affect your peace if it's genuine. And you have to understand that that atmosphere of peace has to be set by you and has to be obtained by God. The next one I have is, just because money comes and goes does not mean you always have to spend it. Look, I know we always have this thing like, oh well, the money's gonna come back, so I have to get this today. Oh, the money's gonna come back, so if you're always spending money, then that money is never gonna come back. And I'm not saying that in a way like, oh, you can't make more money tomorrow. But think about it. If you have money to spend and you decide to spend it and it comes back, then you will have that money that you spent. But if you have money to spend and you decide to save it and it comes back, then you have double that money. Which one would you rather have? And I'm not talking about like that decision or that purchase that you've been thinking about making, you stacked up for, and you like, I might as well go for it. Or you always save money and you're one day like, oh, I should just buy it. I'm talking about always impulsively spending money like it ain't nothing. And I'm not saying that money doesn't come back. I believe money comes back too, but at the same time, the older you get, the more financially smart you will have to be. And say one day you have a situation where money doesn't come back, what are you going to do, because you always spent that money? And even if you get to a place in your life where you never have those days, you still want to have that money double. So just because money always comes back does not mean wasted. The next one I have is plan, plan, plan. Something that has helped me tremendously with my life period is planning. I plan out everything. Now you can't plan out everything. I'm sorry. You can't. And I had to learn that too. Just because I plan from A to Z does not mean at V, I'm not going to slip up and something's going to happen. Because you can't plan out the world. You can't make everybody do things and go according to your plan. That's in your head. But you can prepare. And if the plan doesn't go the way you want it to, that goes back to peace. But you have to understand that just because, oh, well, life goes the way it does anyway, well, my plans never work out, does not mean you don't plan and prepare for your future. Still plan to prepare no matter what happens. The next one I have is pray about everything. And I put an emphasis on everything because we don't pray about everything. I'm talking about pray about if you should buy that donut. Like, and I'm not being like serious with that, but pray about even the smallest things, because that extra guidance from God could be everything for a decision, small or big. And I've had to learn that with my life. Like, no matter how big or small something is, I have to pray about it, because God dictates everything at the end of the day. And I'd rather have His guidance on the decision, because He already knows what decision I'm going to make. And He already knows the outcome of every decision that I could possibly make. So I have learned to ask God about everything and go to Him about everything, because He knows everything and He knows the best decision for me. And so even if you don't hear a direct response from God, you will get a sense of peace with the decision that you are making if it's the right one. But don't just make decisions out of impulse and not go to God about them, especially if they're the bigger ones. The next thing that I learned is a relationship should not be your safe place. A relationship should not be your safe place. If you're constantly posting or constantly saying, you're my safe place, before you there was no me. I don't know where I would be without you. You saved my life. You this and that. Now I'm not saying like your friends can't help you or your man can't help you or this and that can't help you, but I'm saying your only safe place should be in God. Because if God decides to remove that person, or the devil decides to remove that person, then who are you without them? And so if you think this person is your safe place all the time and I would have no peace without you, you're my peace, you're my heart, you're my joy, that person will be removed, because that is idolization. And your person can be calm for you. Your person can bring you a sense of peace. Your person can bring you, add joy to your life or add peace to your life. But they should not be your main source of peace, joy, in a safe place. That should be God. I'm sorry. And if you constantly seek your person out to be your safe place and never go to God, God will remove them. Or God will remove them even if it's just for a season. But a person that you speak to, a person that you love, should never be your safe place, because not only is that unfair to you, it's also unfair to them because you're asking them to be God and they can't be. The next one I have is everything doesn't have to be felt strongly. Now, as a sensitive girly, I understand. I feel everything very deeply. But I had to learn that everything does not have to be felt deeply. You don't always have to be dwelling on something for days and days and days and days and days and days and days. Let it go. If somebody says something crazy to you, do not hold it onto your heart and just consistently think about it. Let it go. Let it go and understand that every rock thrown is not for you. And I know, like, sometimes if you've had shady friends or you've had this and that, you always feel like things are about you or you don't know how to feel about certain things. And I'm not saying don't use discernment, or I'm not saying don't be smart, but don't feel everything to a point that it has you in bed for days. That is unhealthy. Feel things on a healthy level, process them and let them go. But don't let them go from here all the way to your heart and be held there. Let them go from here to here, let it go, and don't feel it so deeply to the point that it has you depressed. Everybody does not deserve that. Everybody does not deserve that power over you, over your mind, over your heart. Nothing. Let things go. The next one I have is a healthy life work balance is important. Now, as a as a workaholic, I struggle with knowing when to put my work down, when to be like it's time to cut it out, and when to be like it's time to hustle. But I've had to learn that when I come home and in my room and it's times that I'm drained and I'm putting everything into my work and I need a break, learn when to take a break. I don't care how much of a workaholic you are, you will burn out if you don't give yourself breaks and give yourself time to breathe. Give yourself time to breathe, give yourself time to decompress, and give yourself time to just take a day off. Every day does not have to be work, 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 work. Now, I'm not saying be lazy, because don't say that and be like, oh, well, I should have worked today then. Now I watch this video. If you know you have to go to work, go to work. But don't always feel like you're nothing without your work, or you cannot breathe if you haven't done work today. Take a break. Drink some tea and watch a movie. Do something, but don't have to work all the time. I promise, if you put that work down for 24 hours, it will be there the next day. And I know I struggle with this. If I put the work down, I got to pick it up 3 hours later because it has to get done today. Now, if you have deadlines and stuff, obviously meet them. But if you're always pressuring yourself and you get a day off and you feel crazy for having it, take that day off. The last one I have, y'all, the sun's going down. So if you see it getting darker, it's because the sun is just going down over time and it's just getting darker in my room. I would turn the light on, but I don't want to throw the aesthetic of the video off because now I'm a little crazy. The last one I have is know your identity. Now, I said this for my last one because this is something that's very near and dear to me, and I'll probably do a podcast on this. But know that your identity is found in God. Know that your identity, and this really brings everything I said together, because know that your identity is not in work. Know that your identity is not in your friends, your boyfriends, your parents, nobody. Know that your identity is found in Christ, and that you are nothing without God, but everything without everything else. If you lose anything today or tomorrow, you are still lovable. You are still worth it. You are still this and that. So know that your identity has to be found in God. Because for me personally, when I quit my first job ever, I was not getting up till I found another job, because my identity is in work and my identity is in success. Know that your identity comes through God, and constantly seek your identity in God, because you're always growing as a woman. You're always growing as a person. So constantly as you grow, seek a higher identity in God and seek yourself more in God and get closer to God and seek Him on another level. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. And if you guys have anything else you would like to see, just comment it or let me know. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.